Haven't you had something that you really wanted to go a specific way? You were obsessed with like a certain outcome, and no matter how hard you worked, you couldn't seem to get it. And then someone else comes by and it seems like they don't work as hard as you. They put in 10 times less the effort, but they get further ahead, and you're looking at them like, this person, it doesn't even seem like they care. How did they do the thing I was obsessing about for like weeks on end? One massive paradox in all of self-improvement is when you really, really want something and you obsess over it, your results are worse, not better. Today, my friends, we are talking about the life-changing power of detachment. We're gonna unpack what it is, why it's important. We'll also look at 3 areas, 3 examples. We're gonna look at detaching in relationships, detaching in business, material success, numbers, metrics, and detachment in happiness, and how it can really benefit you if you lean into this new energy that we're talking about here together. So I found that one of the best analogies for this is one I came up with. Let's just say you have your phone, okay? So you're tossing it up like this. And look, you can do this in your sleep, no problem. Now, what if you have this phone and you take it to a mall and you hold it over a 6-story balcony ledge and you try as hard as you can to just, your heart skips a beat. Your palms get sweaty. You might actually mess it up because it's so much pressure there and drop the thing. The chatter in your mind switches from, I'm bored, let me just do this for fun, to, oh my God, I can't drop this thing because if I do, all my contacts are in here, all my logins, it's $1,000 that I'm gonna be out to replace it, and I can't live without a phone. Even though it's the same exact act as this, when you're over the ledge, the importance of not dropping your phone in that scenario causes you to get nervous, to mess it up, and to lose all the ability that you had all along, which is just this, the exact same act. People often wonder why they get in their own head, why they care so much what people think, why they can't seem to get a good relationship or attract someone. It's because you're placing what you want over the 6-story balcony and you're trying to operate like this. Like, okay, I'm gonna launch my YouTube channel, I can't mess it up. Okay, I'm going on that date, I hope they like me because they have to be the one, otherwise I'm gonna be single alone forever. Okay, I really need this job, otherwise I'm gonna be broke and have to take out 3 different loans to pay my bills. I'm not making light of any of those situations. What I'm saying is that when it's so important, it becomes a negative, self-sabotaging feedback loop. What detaching and letting go from outcomes does for you is it takes your phone, whatever you want, and it places it back down here and it says, okay, you know what? If this thing doesn't work out, I'm capable of finding the next person that does, of finding another job that does. Hope that makes sense in real practical terms. But let's go further. Let's take a look now at 3 different areas that are relevant to you. I know these show up in your life. Let's start with some heartthrobs, relationships. So when you're over-attached in relationships, let's say you're getting in one, what does that do? Well, you really need someone to work out because, there's no good guys out there. There's no good women out there. Oh my God, I think I found one. And so you show up on the first date and you're so obsessed with getting the relationship that you mess things up. You come off as too much. You love bomb them. And in your head, you might be like, well, if I show this person that I really, really love them, then yeah, they'll feel seen and they'll want to be in a relationship with me. But if you know anything about coming off too strong at the start, that actually pushes people away because it can come across as needy, or that you lack love for yourself and you're trying to get something from them. To be honest with you, this one really hits close to home. I almost messed up my current relationship because of this very thing. When I first started dating my girlfriend, I was the one who came across as like, holy cow, she's a smoke show. She's checking all the boxes. I like her vibe. I could see a future with this woman. And I came off very strong. We laugh about it now, but to the point of where like a month in, she sat me down. She's like, hey man, you gotta reel this back in a bit. And looking back now, I'm glad she did because that allowed us to kind of chill out a bit more and the relationship develop instead of me just like rushing into, yeah, come on, move in. How's next week? I almost messed it up because I was over attached to an outcome. Now, here's another angle with relationships and attachment. Let's just say you really want to get married. Now, one of 2 things could happen. Either A, You go on a date with someone, and within the first impression, they don't check every single box on your checklist of Mr. Right, Mrs. Right. So you say next, and potentially they could have been the one had you let the relationship develop a bit more, because you don't really know anyone after 2 hours. Relationships take a lot of time to build. Some people come off great out as a first impression. You get a month or two in, you're like, oh man, I misjudged them. And vice versa. Some people come off a little cold, you get to know them, they open up, you're like, wow, this is a really cool person. Where the second thing happens, maybe they check off all the boxes, you rush into something, and that pressure, that over-attachment to an outcome makes you settle for the wrong person. And now you're in a scarier spot because maybe they work for 6, 12, 18 months, but are they gonna work for 6, 12, 18 years? So wrapping this all together, why do people say that confidence is one of the most attractive traits someone can have? I think that's because confidence, a lot of times, is often paired with self-love. And self-love at its core is saying, I'm good with or without you. I would like you to come along, but I love myself. I know who I am. I don't need another person to quote unquote complete me. It's removed from a lot of that neediness energy of over-attachment that we're talking about. And by the way, if you like this concept of detachment, letting go, we spend an entire 2 weeks in my metamorphic coaching program. We deep dive, we go super in depth with it and how you can apply it in your life. Some people say these are their 2 favorite weeks, and they start to have more of a lightness with things, and it just feels like they get more energy back. Anyway, if you're someone who wants to reinvent themselves, you want to learn more, see if we can genuinely help you, I'll link down below where you can have a conversation with one of our coaches for free. Let's look at money, success, and business. Another personal story. I've been doing YouTube hard for about 5 years. And I remember the first couple of them, I got so obsessed with the metrics. And so I would script it out 100%. I would talk in a way that I thought was more mass market. I had this mindset that I needed to go viral or big with every single video. And they would get 1,000 views here, 2,000 views here, maybe 3,000 views. I'm like, how am I gonna build a business from this? It's not like I was ungrateful, it's that it was so much energy for such little results at the time. Until finally I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, you know what? I might have to quit. I don't know if I have what it takes to really crush this. So why don't I commit to making content in a way that's not draining, that I don't feel sucks, that I feel like I can be myself and be authentic with and share a message from the heart instead of the head all the time. And part of that was letting go of the metrics and saying, you know what, I don't even care if it gets 10,000, 100,000, whatever. Within 6 months of recommitting to that process, the YouTube channel completely blew up and started getting 20, 30, 40, 50,000, 80,000 subscribers a month. And what was interesting is I started looking at the metrics less. And even today, like, yes, metrics are important, but it doesn't drive my entire self-worth. I learned very quickly that when you're over-attached to your performance, to your message, to the way things are, that puts a ton of pressure on you, and it's so hard to perform, and you'll probably perform worse. The solution is to have more of a lightness, more of a playfulness, more of a curiosity, more of an authenticity, because it takes less effort to be your true self than it does to always just put on masks and facades and behave a certain way, and then you feel drained at the end of the day. Let me ask you a question. Does happiness come from getting what you want? You might be tempted to say yes. I will be happy when I have that thing on my vision board, that goal that I really want checked off. I'm gonna feel happy, of course. But haven't you gotten something and you get to it, it's nice in the moment, and then the next day you're like, okay, now what? Or if you're brutally honest, it wasn't even as fulfilling as you thought it was gonna be. In college, I wasn't the best student, but I stuck it out. And looking back, I sometimes question why, because it was very expensive. But I kept thinking, like, you know what, when I graduate, it'll feel really good. Like, I'm a 4-year grad, I'll have that checked off. I'll look at that diploma every single day. I'll feel accomplished, yes. Another year would go by, I'd lose another 43 grand or whatever it is. I'd be like, you know what, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it. Until finally, I remember I was surprised that I graduated because, again, I wasn't the best student. I walk across the stage, I shake the dean's hand, he hands me the diploma, and I'm looking at the thing, and I feel good. But then a week later, I'm like, that was it? Now, this is no shade on college, but I realized that everything sort of has that pattern. When all your happiness is conditional on a certain outcome of one day, and then I will be happy, that is a massive trap, and you're robbing yourself from the best moments because you're so focused on a conditional form of happiness. You're so attached to an end result that you can't even enjoy the whole thing as you're getting there. One of the best teachers of detachment was the Buddha, and Zen Buddhism drills this into their philosophy. It's been said that happiness is the brief moment in between your changing desires, because once you get something, watch how fast your mind moves on to the next target, to the next thing. And it's this little trap that your mind plays on you that says, yeah, that was good, but man, when I get that next one, or that next thing, or the next thing, then I'll be truly happy. In the case of this work, because it's relevant to the stories we've shared, 100,000 subscribers is good, but 250, 500, a million. And it's this never-ending game. Suffering actually comes through attachments, and that your attachments are what create suffering, because if you get it, you're on to the next one, and it's never as good as you think it's going to be. And if you don't get it, then you're suffering because you need something to complete you and feel happy. But happiness, when you remove all the desires and attachments, is your natural state. And it's less about adding things in and more about removing things from you and getting back to your natural state, your baseline. So the secret with all of this is understanding that you're attaching to something as you holding your phone over the ledge. You're going to mess it up. Your results are going to be worse, not better. Bringing it down to ground level, grounding yourself, detaching from outcomes of how things need to be. That is the secret. What I'll do now is link up right here a perfect follow-up to this video. It's on a letting go technique that'll walk you through the process that you can use to detach from negative emotions, for things, for expectations. And I think you'll really enjoy it after this conversation. I'll see you in that video. Thanks so much for watching.